to the $100 MBA Show, and today is a Q&A Weekends episode where we answer your question right here on the show. If you have a question, just email us at contact@100mba.net, or you can send me a tweet on Twitter. BizRepublic is my handle, BIZ Republic. As always, I'm your host, your coach, your teacher, Omar Zenhom. I'm also the co-founder of the $100 MBA, a complete business training and community online. Make sure you check out some of our freebies on our website at 100mba.net. We have a complete video course for free. We have guides. Check those out if you have not already. Today's question comes from Isaiah, and Isaiah asks, how do you handle non-responses to those you reach out to? This is a really good question, Isaiah, because many of us, when we're starting out in business, we're reaching out to some mentors, we're reaching out to people to be guests on our show, to guest post on different blogs, or maybe just make a connection with somebody who is a leader in your market. And sometimes you'll not get a response. We'll talk about why this happens and how to handle it in today's episode. I've definitely had to deal with this in my experience. I'm going to share with you some of the strategies I used. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's get down to business. Today's episode of the $100 MBA Show is sponsored by SaneBox. Be honest, how many times have you spent the day in email feeling productive, only to realize later you haven't really accomplished anything? I know I have. In fact, today's average professional spends nearly 30% of working hours in email. That's why I'm excited today to tell you about SaneBox. It works in your email to make sure you see only the emails that are important right now. I've tried all sorts of email management tools. This one is one of the best, and it saves me hours every week. If you're ready for email sanity, head on over to sanebox.com/100MBA to try SaneBox for free. After that, our friends at SaneBox have offered $100 MBA listeners $25 off a membership, the deepest discount you'll find anywhere. Again, that's sanebox.com/100MBA. So Isaiah asks, how do you handle non-responses to those you reach out to? I want to start this answer by saying the first time you reach out to somebody, whether it's somebody you want for an interview or somebody you want to work with or a possible mentor, that first time is so critical. You want to make sure that you give your best effort the first time you reach out. Because if you're on the receiving end and you receive a lot of emails, a lot of requests for interviews, for partnerships, and you get an email that stands out, it's going to compel a response. So, for example, I get asked to be on other people's podcasts or be a guest on their show about 2 or 3 times a week. And recently, I got an email to be on somebody's show, and usually if it fits in my schedule, if there's a slot open on the day I do interviews, I'm happy to give back. But I would make an extra effort to work with somebody or be on their show if I see that they're making a real strong effort to reach out to me. For example, I had somebody reach out to me with a personal video message, a shot of video, asking me to be on their show. That's a strategy you may want to use because it shows that you really, really want to put in the time and the effort to reach out to this person, and it probably won't take too long. But when you have a personalized video message, the receiver, when they watch that video, they can't help but feel like, wow, this person really wants to work with me or have me on their show. I really should pay attention to this person. And we talked about this when it comes to guest blogging. It's best for you to do all the research beforehand, write the whole blog post, and submit it or attach it with your email. This shows that you've put in the effort to research this person's audience and actually do the work, write out the whole blog post so they could just look at the blog post and say, wow, this is a great blog post. It qualifies to be on my website. So that first time around is very, very important. But let's say you made a strong effort the first time around and you do not get a response. How do you handle it? First of all, how long have you waited? Well, let's first identify what a non-response is. Does that mean they didn't reply to your email the next day? You want to give the person a few days at least, especially if this person is very, very busy. I would actually give up to a week. They could be traveling, they could be doing a launch, they might be going through some personal things right now that they don't have time to reply to every single email as it hits their inbox. But if you did wait a few days to a week, what do you do then? You definitely need to follow up. They could have saw your email and said, yes, I do want to do this. I'll reply later, and just completely forgot. It's your job to follow up with the people that you've reached out to. And in your follow-up, it's okay for you, again, to be personal. You can send a video, you can send an audio message, you can be funny about it. You can send a funny animated GIF or something on your email to grab their attention and say, hey, I would really love to have you on my show, or whatever it is. I hope you have a chance to read the email I sent you before. I would love to hear back from you, even if it's just a one-liner. You want to make it easy for the recipient. If they know they can just reply with one line and say, yes, I'm in, or maybe I just can't do it right now, how about next month? Whatever it is, you want to give them an easy way to respond. I would continue to follow up every few days or so if you do not get a response. I'd actually recommend following up 2 or 3 times. If for some reason you don't get a response after 2 or 3 times, that's okay. Just mark it up in your notebook or in your Evernote or whatever you use to organize notes that you've reached out to this person, you followed up 3 times, and then you're going to circle back some other time this year. You may find an opportunity where a mutual friend can introduce you, or you might see them at an event or a conference. And if you do, there's no reason for you to be like, hey, I sent you a whole bunch of emails, you completely ignored me. What's your problem, man? You want to be on my show? That's really not going to do anything for you. If you really want to work with this person, have them on your show, have them as a contact or a friend, then you want to cut them some slack. So even though you followed up a few times, make a note of it that you followed up and that you'll circle back later on. Whenever you go to a conference, whenever you go to a meetup, take a look at that list of people that you followed up with and didn't get a response and see, hey, are they going to be there? A few months down the line, check that list again and say, is there anybody I know that knows them that can make an introduction for me? This is a great strategy to make sure that you don't kind of give up on things. And if you still don't get a chance to connect with this person, it's okay. There's other people you can connect with, and it's just not meant to be. It's all right. No hard feelings. But I want to pass on a message here. If you keep on getting non-responses, they don't respond to you after a few times, don't take it personal. Don't feel like, oh, I'm not that great, I'm not at their level, and therefore they're not responding to me. In my experience, most of the time, it just means they're too busy right now to respond to every single email, or something just got in the way. So stay positive and still have a good opinion of that person. You never know what their circumstances might be. All right, guys, that wraps up today's lesson. If you enjoyed today's lesson or any of our lessons, I would love to hear from you in an iTunes rating and review. We read every single one of these reviews, and it really helps us focus on what works on the show and create the best show for our listeners. So thank you in advance for leaving us that review and showing your support for the $100 MBA show. Guys, tomorrow we have a great guest teacher lesson with David Lizabram. And a lot of our listeners have been asking for this lesson, and it's all about the legal things to look out for when it comes to starting a business. Should you be an LLC? How do you actually do that? David's going to go into all the details of the legalities of starting a business. He's a lawyer himself, and he focuses on entrepreneurship law. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for that lesson. All right, guys, I want to leave you with this. There's a line in a very famous movie called Glengarry Glen Ross where Alec Baldwin says, business is a contact sport. The more contacts you have or make, the better your chances. So when you're reaching out to people, don't worry. Just keep on reaching out to new people. If you build relationships with some, great. If you don't, that's okay. But the point here is that keep on going. Keep making connections. Keep making contacts. All right, guys, I'll see you in tomorrow's episode. Until then, take care.